In some of the most important organizations out there, the ones that really can't afford to fail, there's a role so critical that if the person in it is gone, even for a day, things can just collapse. They might not have the flashiest title, but believe me, they are the true architects of continuity. So today, let's pull back the curtain on the story of this unsung hero. And look, that's not just some dramatic line. It's the absolute truth. In high-stakes law firms, government agencies, you name it. We're talking about a single point of failure, and it's not a server or a piece of software. It's a person. So, who is this person? What is this role that basically acts as the linchpin for an entire organization, holding everything together? Let's dive in and find out. Okay, so here's the title, the Legal Operations Continuity Director. But what does that mean? Well, the best way to think about them is as the firm's living, breathing nervous system. They're not the ones arguing in court, but they are the ones who make the entire practice of law even possible. They make sure every signal gets through, every connection is made, and the whole system just works. Think about this. Every single new client, every new relationship that the firm builds has to be processed and understood by this one individual first. And when things get really intense, when the clock is ticking and the pressure is on, guess what? They are the central hub. All of that critical, time-sensitive information flows right through them. And for everything else, all the stuff that doesn't fit neatly into a box, the weird conflicts, the sudden escalations, the totally unexpected problems, yep, they're the ones who have to figure it all out. They're the final stop. Now, you'd think, right? You'd think a role this important would be backed up by some kind of bulletproof, ironclad system. But the hidden reality, well, it's that they're basically performing a high-wire act every single day, completely without a safety net. And one little slip could be an absolute disaster. And this is where the problem just slaps you in the face. Just look at this mismatch. On one hand, you have their function, what they have to do. We're talking high-level stuff like risk triage, arbitrating between competing priorities, resolving messy human situations. But then look at their tools. It's a disaster. Fragmented apps that don't talk to each other, an inbox that's basically a fire hose of emails, calendar conflicts everywhere, and the most fragile tool of all, a single human's memory buckling under incredible pressure. So what's the bottom line here? It's pretty stark, actually. The firm's entire continuity, its ability to function, rests on the shoulders of one person, and yet the very systems they're forced to use offer them zero protection. This isn't just a recipe for burnout, it is a blueprint for catastrophic failure. Okay, so this is where a totally different approach to technology comes into play. We're not talking about something that's meant to disrupt or replace them. We're talking about a long overdue partner, technology that's actually designed to support this critical human role. Let me introduce you to Enkai and Max. So first up, there's Enkai. The best way to think of it is as continuity insurance. What it does is cement the director's authority by creating this unbreakable digital paper trail for every single decision and action. This cryptographic traceability, it basically means nothing can ever be lost, nothing can be disputed, and nothing can be sneakily changed later. It's all there, locked in. And then you have Max. Now, this is not some AI trying to take over the job. Not at all. It's more like a silent second brain. Its whole purpose is to absorb all that mental juggling, that massive cognitive load of trying to remember every detail, every conversation, every piece of context. But, and this is key, Max never ever acts on its own. It's a support tool that waits for explicit human permission. So, what does it actually look like day to day? How does this partnership really change things? Let's walk through a day in the life of our director and see how their world is transformed from constant reactive chaos into calm, proactive control. So the day kicks off at 7:45 a.m., and instead of a 5-alarm fire in their inbox, they walk into a clean, organized brief already prepared by Max. By 9 a.m., a really high-pressure intake comes in, but it's handled smoothly, no panic. Then at 11:30, a senior partner storms in with an urgent request. Instead of scrambling, the director pulls up the full context instantly, reinforcing their own authority. When a real problem escalates around 2 p.m., Enkai's traceable history acts like a perfect forensic mirror, giving them the hard facts to resolve it calmly. And the day ends, not with utter exhaustion, but with a sense of control. Nothing fell through the cracks. And the result of all this? It's a total game changer. The role itself becomes sustainable. The person is finally protected from burnout. And the whole firm is way more resilient because its institutional memory is now baked into a secure system, not just floating around in one person's head. The work itself becomes safer, lighter, and completely verifiable. Now, look, we've been using a law firm as our example, but this is not just a story about lawyers. This person, this continuity authority, they exist in all kinds of high-trust, high-pressure places. You see these people everywhere if you know where to look. They're in federal agencies, in complex contracting offices, in policy shops hammering out important details. They are the chiefs of staff, the senior executive assistants. Really, they're the invisible professionals who are the true backbone of our most important organizations. And this really points to a whole new way of thinking about technology. It doesn't always have to be this disruptive force that threatens people's expertise. Instead, it can be a tool that finally honors and supports the indispensable human beings who have been quietly holding our systems together all along. So, I want to leave you with this question. Just take a look around your own world, your own workplace, your own life. Who are the people quietly making sure everything keeps running smoothly? Who are your continuity authorities? And more importantly, how can we do a better job of protecting them?